Okay, so what we're going to do is you're going to open up your scene that you want to work on. You can pay attention to me just up here if you want to, but I assure you that it might be a little bit easier to be able to kind of apply while I'm working because, like I said, this revision work is messy, it's frustrating, and it is kind of hard to get it right. So it's probably going to be a little boring to just sit and listen to me do this. Okay, the first things I want to remind you about are your Control F tools. So remember that you can find some of your helping verbs and some of your things that you might want to get rid of in your sentence by using Control F, because that will help you condense things. So remember, Control F is your find box, and you can just open up and say, okay, how many is's do I have? This paragraph only has 3, and in fact, this is a trick one, but the sun is setting, it is getting dark. That might be a place where I could say, okay, is there a better way for me to say that and condense it down to one verb? Okay, I think do the same thing with was. This doesn't have any was's. If you do a was in some of your paragraphs, you might find a lot. Okay, same thing with there is or there are. We might have a situation where you're adding unnecessary openers to sentences that you don't need. So those are some of the Control F tools that you might want to do to just make sure that you are not overdoing some of your words. That is another one. This one doesn't have many either, so this is great. So here's what I'm going to try to do. I'm going to look, anytime I'm working on sentence fluency, reading aloud is my friend, at least being aloud in my head, so I can start to hear the rhythm of these sentences. So I'm going to read this aloud and kind of get a sense of where I want to focus my attention. I am 11 years old. The sun is setting and it is getting dark as we pull into the UPS building. I look over at my dad sitting to the left of me and give an elated smile. We open the car doors and walk to the door of the building holding hands. Beaming from the ceiling. Oh, you know what? I didn't finish undoing some of my changes from last hour. I forgot to start it over. That is a problem. Okay, let's start there. And I'm going to make my box a little bigger. Okay. I'm 11 years old. The sun is setting and it's getting dark as we pull into the UPS building. I look over at my dad sitting to the left of me and give an elated smile. We open the car doors and walk to the door of the building holding hands. Inside of the building is very bright with fluorescent lights beaming from the ceiling. There's a gumball machine inside along with the road towards the wall. I lead it to the front desk so we can count until we go through the package. I stand there impatiently with my father right beside me. I have to hurry the process up. I have 3 class in less than an hour. Can't be late for George. Finally, a woman comes out from the back room and begins to help us with our package. After my father tells me what package we are here for, she retreats to the large warehouse scale behind the front desk. We can hardly wait to open up the box. So one thing I notice is that right here, it starts to flow a little bit better. We have to hurry this process up. I have group class in less than an hour. At this point, we have kind of a variety of long and short sentences that to me make the piece flow a little bit better. From here to up to that point, I love this paragraph because I think it has really great details about the setting. I can picture it, but I think we might be able to improve some of our flow if we change some of the lengths of our sentences. Okay, so they can come in. I'm screencasting right now, so they can say hello to the people who are absent from class. Yeah, that's fine. They can come in, but we're having a lesson, so make sure. Okay, so you can come in. Welcome, welcome to Pete. Okay, should we continue? Okay, so I'm going to focus my energy on the front end of the paragraph because I want to make sure my sentence fluency at the front of the paragraph matches the end of the paragraph. Sorry, everybody who's absent. This is a little bit of an awkward moment in class right now. We had a few wandering 6th graders who came in for a brief quiet moment. So one thing I'm going to look for is I'm going to see if there are any INGs, my participles, that I could maybe move. to the beginning of the sentence for a little bit of rhythm. So I already have a couple here. I have holding hands right here. I might be able to move this and have the rhythm of the sentence change a little bit. So we open the car doors. One thing I'm thinking about is that detail really necessary? Or am I going to assume that in order to walk toward the building, we're going to open the car doors? But one thing I like about it is I look over at my dad sitting to the left of me and give a smile. So now we know that they're going to go in. So I'm just going to put this in its own sentence. We open the car doors, and then I might try holding hands. We walk to the door of the building. So that gives me a little bit of an opener and changes that flow. I'm still not sure about this open the car doors. What do you guys think? Do you think that's important to transition out of the car, or do you think we could delete it? The sun is setting and it's getting dark as we pull into the UPS building. I look over at my dad sitting to the left of me and give an elated smile. We don't need a comma here because it's not a compound sentence. Holding hands, we walk to the door of the building. I don't think we need it. I'll get rid of it. So that's another thing you might find with narrative. One of our tendencies is to overwrite it. We're trying to get more detail in because, as we've talked about, detail matters. But you can get to a point where you think, actually, that detail isn't very important. I needed to get it out there so I could write the scene, but now I'm going to omit it. Don't be afraid to do that. Okay? I look over at my dad sitting to the left of me and give an elated smile. See, this sentence is really similar to this one because we've got two ands. So I kind of want to change this one. The sun is setting, it is getting dark as we pull into the UPS building. Maybe I could change this, move this to the beginning. And it's probably a parking lot instead of a building. I could say, as we pull into the UPS parking lot, the sun sets. I kind of want to change this, and it is getting dark. Something, so it's a little bit more lyrical. As we pull into the UPS parking lot, the sun sets, the sky beginning to darken. So I want you to look at what I just did there, which is I added something to the end of the sentence. That's called a cumulative sentence, when you add a detail at the end where you could put a period here, right? As we pull into the UPS parking lot, the sun sets. That would make sense. You could put a period there. Adding another detail at the end of the sentence that kind of keeps going, you would separate with a comma and add there, and that gives you that a little bit of flow, okay? The inside of the building is very bright with fluorescent lights beaming from the ceiling. Now, I just used this ing, so I don't want to use another one. But I might be able to get rid of my with and just, again, add a little comma there. That makes that cumulative instead of with a prepositional phrase. The inside of the building is very bright, fluorescent lights beaming from the ceiling. There's a gumball machine along with a row of chairs against a wall. Anytime we have a there is, that's another thing to look for in your find document. There is or there was. A lot of times you probably don't need it. So I can just say a gumball machine sits inside along with a row of chairs against a wall. Then I can get rid of that there is or there are. And you may want to do that as a search and find again. And this is starting to flow a little bit better now. Can you see the difference in the rhythm of those sentences? There's more long and short, there's more variety in there. This is sophisticated revision work, and it will pay off big time if you take the time to look at each of your paragraphs and see if you can make them flow better in this way. The last thing I want to show you is this sentence. I stand there impatiently with my father right beside me. We have to hurry this process up. I have group class in less than an hour. First of all, I'm going to make this a semicolon so that we have a, because we can't create complete sentences with just a comma. We need to use either a fanboy or a semicolon. But this whole thing right here, I stand there impatiently with my father right beside me. Since the writer's impatient, I kind of want to make the sentence impatient. I kind of want to stretch it out, add more detail to that sentence. So we're kind of like, hurry up, right along with the writer. So I stand there impatiently with my father beside me, tapping my toes, looking at the clock, wondering how long this will take. Now, I don't know if I love that, but I'm thinking about how I can make the sentence impatient just right along with the experience. So think about that too. If you want your reader to move fast, you might think about using short sentences. If you want your reader to slow down, use longer sentences. Think about the effect that you want that to have. Okay, so this is not clean work. It's messy. You can see that while I'm doing it in front of you, I'm changing my mind. I'm saying, I don't know if I like this. That's how it is. No matter how much writing experience you have, when you're paying attention to this much detail, you're going to have to work at it. So I encourage you to go to your draft. You may not do this in every single paragraph. You might read through your draft, pick the 5 paragraphs that need it the most, and work on those. But make sure that you spend some attention with sentence level revision and varying those sentences to improve your